Hello everybody. It's with some dismay that I received a message from my editor that said, quote, "This type of subject doesn't interest me. It's not a topic that would attract my interest when browsing in a bookshop," unquote. He went on to say, quite rightly, that he had no problem reading and editing my draft. I'm grateful. Without a good editor, every author is lost. There's a lesson there, actually several ones, and I'll chat about them. But the one that I'm going to talk about just now is that writing a book is a team effort. True, the author is the creator of the plot and generates the words. But then there's getting the story into shape, dealing with the grammatical and typo issues, the artwork, printing, publication, and, not least, marketing. I emphasize marketing for two reasons. First, why go to the enormous effort, and it is enormous, of writing and publishing your book if no one reads it? Second, marketing loops back to subject matter, which is what I'm talking about today. What do you do when what you want to write about, the plot, the idea, the period in history, simply doesn't fit the market? Let's go back. Why be dismayed or surprised when someone says, "Not for me"? After all, our individual preferences are exactly that, individual, determined by our education, experiences, culture, age, and so on. We buy things, including books, that serve a purpose or make us feel good, whatever good means to us individually. Economists, and I confess to masquerading as one, often use the concept of utility. Utility measures the satisfaction or happiness an individual derives from consuming something useful or reading something that they enjoy. You tend to avoid things that make you feel bad or that don't serve your interests. Maximizing welfare is the jargon. Preferences are highly subjective. What one person likes, another doesn't. However, if we add up all the preferences, we'll find that they clump into categories. In the world of books, this seems pretty obvious. Go into any bookshop. One of the first questions I get asked when people learn I'm writing a book is, what genre is it? What common characteristics, themes, or styles does my book share with others? I used to find this question incredibly irritating, not least because I had no clue what genre my book was in. It was my unique creation. So get lost. Still, genres make it easier to deal with your book, especially for publishers and their marketing people. Helps them to understand, identify, and discuss it. Sorry, you are in a category, whether you like it or not, and your book will be placed on the appropriate shelf in the bookshop or under a listing on Amazon. My reply became speculative fiction. My first volume, 2 books in one, Gateway to Gandamak, was influenced by a highly respected author in this genre, Neil Stevenson. In particular, I was influenced by his book Quartermaine. I also took away much from the Flashman series by George MacDonald Fraser. Fraser's mix of historical fact and imagined fiction have been a significant factor in pushing me towards what my editor calls historical semi-fiction. If that's what my books are, I'd assert they have another twist to them. Then I'm in good company. Here's more in the same genre. Hilary Mantel, Stephen Pressfield, and Christian Cameron, and others on the list. By the way, don't be shy of acknowledging influences. After all, Shakespeare's early plays were influenced by his contemporary Christopher Marlowe. As a creator, it's impossible to work in a vacuum, pretending that your ideas originate somehow pristine from the ether. Literature often builds upon and reinterprets other works, creating new narratives, perspectives, and themes. Okay, not everybody will go for historical semi-fiction or fact-based fiction, let alone the military subcategory that I enjoy writing. At least one potential editor turned me down because she didn't want to deal with the violence in my books, military history, and it inevitably includes violence. Fair enough. And so we return to the vexed question of marketing. Do you let your publisher or marketer determine your subject matter? Let's be honest. My latest book, Guardian of Kings, due before Christmas, I insist, is historical fact fiction that discusses the clash of Islam with other established religions, the various Hindu sects in India, and of course, Christianity. There's a huge irony that in the Middle Ages, while vicious pogroms by Christians persecuted Jews, in the Middle East, they lived unexceptional lives, well tolerated by the Islamic empires. One reaction to the topic has been, well, do people really want to read nowadays about warriors slaughtering each other for religious reasons? It's a good question. What to do? Do I park a hard year's work and deep research? Guardian of Kings has as much research as a PhD thesis. Like Elizabeth Gilbert parked her book, she withdrew her book, The Snow Forest, set in Russia because of the Ukraine war. Check out my video episode about that. No, I think not. I'm not going to park it. Those who don't want to read it will not. There's probably never a good time to pick a serious subject. Someone will always object, and it's very unlikely that everyone will celebrate your efforts. Sorry to say, most won't, and among those least likely to do so will be your friends. But why should they? If they are vegans, don't expect them to enjoy a roast beef dinner. And yet, on the other hand, should you cook vegan or beef if you dislike it yourself? Do you write for the market, or do you write for yourself and hope the market likes it? Let me know what you think. I really appreciate feedback. Write in the comments. Let me know. Thanks very much for listening. If you like this, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and see you next week.